How's it going, guys? Alninio here, and this is my Warwick short guide to sort of explain his runes, masteries, and items very briefly. First of all, we're going to start with runes. So this is essentially going to be the short version of my full guide, which is going on Mobifier. But yeah, first off, you basically want 3 attack speed quints, full attack speed marks. Now the reason we go attack speed on both these is because Warwick loves attack speed. You could go AD marks. There's nothing bad about that. You can go whatever you want. I just like the extra attack speed because it helps with his W, and also he doesn't really struggle in the early jungle clearing because he has built-in self-sustain thanks to his passive. Now we also added in 2 attack speed glyphs in there as well, just to give him that 30% attack speed flat. So we do want to get to that 30%. You don't have to, obviously. I just throw that in there because I'm Warwick and I love attack speed. This does help you in like 1v1 out trading early if you fight the enemy jungler. If he tries to come to your jungle, you have that little bit of extra attack speed, which will help you in return get back more lifesteal. Thanks to Warwick's passive, when he's really low, his lifesteal triples, meaning more attacks, meaning more lifesteal. So that's always good. You don't have to, once again, but you can if you want. Next up, we go MR glyphs. Pretty self-explanatory. You need magic resistance, and you could go full attack speed here too, but I think that's too much. You do need a little bit of magic resistance and defense in there, so I would definitely recommend magic resistance. And lastly, we have scaling health. So you're probably questioning why I'm not going armor seals and I'm going scaling health. Warwick does not struggle in lane. I was taught by a diamond Warwick. He coached me and he told me help level seals are actually more efficient on Warwick because he does not struggle in the early jungle camps at all. He has no problem. You just clear and Q, you get back so much life. It's like, why do you have flat armor seals? And flat armor seals are only good early. It's not going to help you that much in late game. It certainly has a factor in your late game by a little bit of extra armor, but scaling health is infinitely better in the late game for Warwick, and it just fits him better, and I think it's far superior over armor seals for Warwick. If you play other champions, armor seals would be good, but Warwick just does not have an issue in jungle clearing, and he's just top notch. So absolutely we'll go scaling health on him. Now for masteries, for jungle Warwick, we would go attack speed, pretty self-explanatory. You need attack speed on Warwick. Fresh blood instead of feast because you want to first basic attack to deal the most amount of damage. You're going to be auto-attacking a lot with Warwick, so you do need that fresh blood. You don't need it, but he doesn't struggle with sustaining at all, so feast is completely useless because Warwick already has so much sustain to begin with his Q. This, forget it. This is, you don't want this on Warwick, trust me. So just go attack speed instead of this. Of course, you need attack speed your Warwick, and helps with your W, of course, and he loves attack speed just overall. You don't want to go for this because again, he's already good with lifesteal thanks to his Q and passive and his ulti. Just go extra damage. Go for double-edged sword. Battle trance, you don't need battle trance. You could if you want, but I would just advise against that because double-edged sword helps you deal really good damage early if you're trying to like counter jungle or get counter jungled. Battle trance is also okay, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just go double-edged sword, trust me on this one. Bounty hunter, no. You can't guarantee every game you carry with Warwick, so just go double-edged sword. It's the safest, best option. You don't need armor penetration, you need magic penetration with Warwick. The reason we go magic pen is because Warwick's all magic damage, and he doesn't. His only AD damage is basic attacks. So just go for magic penetration over armor penetration because your Q, your R, everything is like magic damage, and he also has basic attacks that scale with magic damage. His basic attacks also do some magic damage as well, and they scale every level. So absolutely magic penetration. Go fervor of battle because your ulti, when you ulti, he does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He slashes people 8 times, giving him pretty much full stacks on fervor. Absolutely want that. Get fervor of battle, and you could also, when you try to 1v1, it also puts it up, so fervor of battle is just the best option, absolutely. You don't want to go for Warlord's Bloodlust. You don't care about the energized attacks, right? You only care about fervor of battle, so go for that. Deathfire? Absolutely not. I'm not gonna go too deep into detail with that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory why you wouldn't go Deathfire. For Resolve, we go Recovery. You want the health regeneration early. It will help you with the jungle clearing, and I think it's a better option than this because this is mainly for tanks, really. So you're not really building full tank. Well, you kind of are, but you're Warwick and you're so good with damage as well. So just help yourself early and go for that extra health regen. Go for Tough Skin. You take less damage from champions and basic attacks from monsters. So if you do Dragon, if you do Grumps, you're a jungler, you want Tough Skin. Okay? And finally, the last two, you want Runic Armor. Shields, healing, and regeneration and lifesteal on you are 8% stronger, which means your passive is enhanced, your lifesteal is enhanced, and if you buy Spirit Visage, that enhances it even further, so you want Runic Armor for that. And finally, you go Insight. Reduces the cooldown of summoner spells, so your Flash, your Smite, you always want it to be up. Absolutely. You do not want Perseverance. That's mainly for laning phase, and not many people go for that now. And Fearless. Gain 10% per level bonus armor and magic resistance when damaged by an enemy. You don't care about this either. You're not a tank. You're Warwick, right? You do your own thing. About Siege Master. Gain 8 armor and magic penetration when you're an allied turret. You don't care about this either because you're not. You're a jungler, right? You're all over the place. You don't care about just... This is like if you're lane Warwick, you could go for that, but... I don't play lane Warwick, we just jungle. And even then, I probably still go Tough Skin, even if I do lane Warwick. Okay, so for Warwick's items, we start with Hunter's Machete. This is, keep in mind, from my Katarina Warwick guide, which is still being updated at the making of this video. But once I finish the video, this guide will be finished, because I haven't published it yet. But it will be published at the time you're watching this video in the guide. Right, so basically you go Hunter's Machete, Regeneration Bead. You don't need health pots, you're Warwick, just go Regeneration Bead, and that's going to help you with your health regeneration, plus that Mastery Recovery. Also helps you with the health regen early, so it's going to be really, really nice to have this. And we'll just make your health regen early really good. Your first recall, you should get Time Mat. It gives you... The reason we go Time Mat is because it's an easy jungle clear, because Warwick doesn't have AoE. He's all like single target. His E is the only type of like AoE fear, but it doesn't do damage, it's a fear. So you want Time Mat to be able to jungle clear effectively. So I absolutely recommend Time Mat, first item. It's also a recipe for Regeneration Bead, which means you can get it a lot faster. So if your early items, let's say you're 3-0 and you're snowballing and your team's doing really well, you can absolutely go for Sheen. After finishing Time Mat, you go Skirmish Saber, Ninja Tabby, into Sheen. And don't finish this yet. Just get Sheen, because Sheen will really kick ass thanks to your Q, and it just fits Warwick really well. Sheen is so good on him. You don't have to go Ninja Tabby. You can go between Ninja Tabby or Merc Treads based on the situation, but most of the time I do go Ninja Tabby because it really helps the passive of Ninja Tabby. Blocks 12% of damage from basic attacks is huge, so being able to do that is actually pretty damn effective. So I would definitely recommend Ninja Tabby in a lot of situations, but if you feel like they don't have basic attack champions and they're mostly CC and all that, and you go Merc Treads. Go Merc Treads. If they have like all AP, non-basic attack reliant champions, go Merc Treads. So then you want to finish, Cinderhawk, and then of course pick your boots, finish Cinderhawk. Your core items will be Cinderhawk, Ninja Tabby, Titanic Hydra. Keep in mind, Titanic Hydra, you do not always buy it this early on. I say it's a core item. Core item definition basically means you're going to have these 3 items in your inventory every game. Almost every game. Just not so much for Titanic Hydra. It won't always be a core, but it certainly is a core for me, because I always end up finishing my Time Mat in the late game into a Titanic Hydra. But keep in mind, you don't always finish it as a 3rd item. Sometimes it is better to finish Triforce if you're snowballing, and then buy Titanic Hydra, or something like that, right? So your situation items, I should include the Guardian Angel and Frozen Heart in there, because Frozen Heart and Guardian Angel can be helpful in some situations for Warwick. Frozen Heart if you're against like a Twitch jungle and Tryndamere top lane, AD carry, right? 3 attack speed, reliant champions, Aatrox, things like that. Triforce if you're snowballing and you're kicking ass, finish your Sheen and complete it into a Triforce. Spirit Visage is always, I buy this item if I'm against an AP mid laner. This item is just way too good on Warwick, and it also increases all healing, regeneration, and on yourself by 25%. So that's huge. That's so good for Warwick because he's a lifesteal monster. So having Spirit Visage is 100%. Absolutely would recommend Dead Man's Plate because it speeds you up and it helps your W speed. So in a lot of situations, you'd probably be debating, should I go Dead Man or Randuin? You could go both. I guess you could go both. And sell Tiamat. If you don't want Tiamat, you can go for both. Because Dead Man Plate is really, really good. It gives you that movement speed, 100 charges. You sprint across the map with your Blood Hunt. The lower they are, the faster you are. So if they drop really low health, your movement speed is just insane with that. And your ulti range really starts to expand. Randuin, if they have Yasuo top lane, Yasuo mid lane, if they have crits, all that, you buy this. If they're attack speed reliant champions like Mastery Yi jungle, things like that, you go for a Randuin. Attack speed reliant champions and people who crit. Yasuo is a good example. Master Yi is a good example. That's when you want to get Randuin. Here's a build example if you're snowballing. Skirmish Saber, Ninja Tabi, Trinity Force, Spirit Visage, Titanic Hydra, Dead Man's Plate. Keep in mind, Dead Man's Plate's not always there. This is just an example. You could go Randuin instead of Dead Man Plate. Here's if you're tanky, if you want to build tank, and let's say you had a really kind of like not the best early, like pretty average early game. You don't get Triforce. You just go Skirmish Saber, Cinderhulk, Ninja Tabi, Spirit Visage, Dead Man Plate, Titanic Hydra, Randuin. You could toss Titanic Hydra out of there and sell Tiamat for like a Frozen Heart if you feel like that would be more important in the game that you're in. You decide what you think is best for the current situation. Right? And really that's about it for his runes, masteries, and items. Other than that, this is how your skill level should look. You max Q first, then W, then E. You could go E second because it helps you with jungle clearing, so you could do that. The reduced damage against Gromp, for example, is good, and you fear the Gromp, or if you fear Raptors, if you feel like you need to fear the Raptors, you get that, it reduces all incoming damage, so that's huge. 35% damage reduction at level 1 is actually really good, so you might receive less damage in the jungle if you go Primal Howl at level 2. Other than that, guys, that is about it for the short version of Warwick guide. The guide will be up in the coming maybe weeks, days. I'm probably not gonna take weeks. I just need to make like a lot of videos, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a lot of Warwick videos, guides, and tips. We're gonna finish this Warwick guide, and that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all on the Rift. Peace out.